So I want to talk about my steering shaft. Um, if you watched earlier, I did go with weldable joints um, to make the steering shaft, and rather than the double D. Um, my personal opinion has always been, welding is stronger. You weld them joints together, that shaft becomes one solid piece. You're good to go. Where set screws can loosen and work their way out. You get Loctite, pretty secure, but um, that was just my thought process. Well, as I was moving the truck around the shop, one of my tacks, and granted these were just a couple quick little tacks on each joint, broke. So I just started looking at it more, and I decided to do a little more investigation on welding up steering joints. And they're made out of, from what I can tell, cast steel rather than cast iron. So that's a little better welding than the cast iron is. A little more easily welded. And this is just information I looked up. I am not a welder, so don't take my word for this. I'm just telling you what I experienced here. So anyhow, I welded them up, and one tip I got off of the good old interwebs on the ham chat site was if you get the joints too hot as you're welding, you can cook the grease out of the needle bearings, and then your joints are going to wear out real quick. So to avoid that, guy suggested, and I packed the joint basically with a wet rag, and wrapped it around to help keep them bearings from getting too hot. Seemed to work. They feel good. I didn't have any grease or oil on the rags when I took them out, and I just took my time welding. I just a couple tacks, let it sit, did a couple tacks, and I feel pretty confident in this. But I will say, if I was going to do it again, I would go double D. I mean, you could, I think if I remember, the double D shaft's pretty expensive, but you can buy a round shaft and shape it for double D end, and put your set screws in there. With Loctite them in good, and shouldn't be a problem. Guy wants, you could even safety wire. But that's the route I would go if I did this again. So let me grab the camera, and I'll show you my welds and how I did it. Okay, so here's the shaft. And this joint may have actually been a factory GM joint. This was on the truck when we got it, and I did reuse it. It had already been welded, and I cut it off and had a machinist friend machine it out for me to take a new shaft. And yeah, I just packed this in here with a wet rag and wrapped it around really well, and just did a tack. Went to the other side, did a tack. Actually did a 3-point tacks, and then I just let it cool, slowly. Did not quench it. You don't want to quench. And then here's the other joints. Like I say, just a lot of tacks, right tight to each other. And then I also did each joint on the inside. Get that to focus. Here we go. So, and then this end, so I can take the shaft in and out, I did do a double D. I just ground them down to fit in, and put a little taper where the set screw sits, and I'll Loctite that set screw in. This is the end that goes to the steering box, and then this connects to the column with the pinch here. So yeah, I'm pretty confident. Obviously if we're going to drive it, I should be. But I would personally, if I did this again, I would go with the double Ds. So I'm just going to keep a real close eye on these, check them very often. If I see any sign of any stress cracks or anything letting go, then this is all coming out, and I'll replace it all with double D joints and new shaft. So yeah, hopefully this is some information that'll help some of you guys out that are watching, if you're building something like this. Man, this is the steering. It's kind of important. So, all right, well, good luck, and I'll talk to you later.